Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you Sunday, April the 4th. Happy Easter. The year's 2021. Let's talk trading. Time for the weekly open and gap. And even on Easter, these videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. So, taking a look at the week, we see that most of the gaps have filled. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4 gaps that haven't filled. The pound gap down and has come up to fill that gap. So hopefully some of you traders out there are taking advantage of the weekly open and gap, fading the gap. In other words, if the price closes below Friday's or opens below Friday's close, you'd go long, and if it opens above Friday's close, you'd go short. Now, one thing is, you can see we've got a little conflict here. We've got the weekly pivot down here at 37.97. So some people like to fade the pivot. So you have to be careful, pay attention, and trade what you see. Okay, so here we have the opening range for the month. Down here's the opening range for the year, and we're putting in the opening range for the week today. So you can see right here we're breaking out of that opening range for the month. Price has to range, so it's either going to go this way or it's going to come down and break out that way. But chances are it's not going to stay between these two lines. Not for long. Okay, once again, we're looking at the monthly chart here. We're 196 pips above the yearly open. And we can see here that according to seasonality, the pound typically forms a bottom in early to late March and then moves higher into the end of April. So we're going to see if that plays out. And if we switch just to the week, you can see here what it looks like on the week. Could possibly break out of the previous week's high and on to higher highs. Speaking of breaking out of the previous week, last week was an inside bar week. So we have a long trigger at 38.51, call it 5.2. And short trigger is way down at 37.06. We also have daily inside bar triggers long at 38.64, call it 65. And the short looks like 37.95. Lots of inside bar action here on the daily and the weekly, and even some on the monthly. So pick your poison, which pair you like to trade, and take your chances. Remember, don't lose any more in any one particular trade than you're willing to lose. That's your risk management. And I'll just show that chart once again just to remind you. Okay, so far today, one pair, the pound New Zealand dollar, 102 pips. I wonder what happened there. So once again, previous day's high 51.7, look for a breakout, or the low 38.09. So those are the daily breakouts. Let's see what happens. Price has to range, and it looks like we've got about 28 pips right now. So usually that's going to get somewhere around in the 60 area or better. It missed the pivot point on Friday. And actually, it looks like I must have looked at something wrong. Let me go back here. Now, this is the weekly pivot, and we're talking about fading the week. So when we come back here, you can see it looks like the daily pivot was right about here. It's already taken that out. Rats, not enough range yet, so you guys are going to have to be patient. So here we go, looking at the pivots. We've already hit the monthly pivot. Weekly pivot, once again, 137.97, and the daily pivot is somewhere up here, 138.30. Let's call it 138.31, and that's been taken out. And right there, you can see it once again. The daily has been taken out. Weekly, not yet. And you can see we had a missed pivot 2 weeks ago, missed pivot 5 weeks ago, missed pivot 21 weeks ago. But the weekly pivots, we haven't really missed that many. Though we missed 2 in 2020 and so far 3 in 2021. Let's see what happens. Monthly, been taking the monthly pivots out on a regular recurring basis since 2014. Wick zone. We're in the upper wick zone at the moment. Once again, price doesn't like to stay in it, so you've got a long trigger at 51 or 3851.7, call it 52, and the short would be at 138.33. Now you can apply all these methods to other pairs. I'm just sticking with the pound dollar because that's what Walmart and I've been trading for over a year. So that's what we've been doing. Now, once again, taking a look at the ranges, you can see here we've got a lot more room to move this month at the 0 percentile, and the same ditto for the day at 0% here. So we're going to look, and we're looking at the monthly chart. You can see that last month was an inside bar. We can switch time frames over to weekly. Once again, 0 percentile. And we didn't break out. We'll probably break out this week. Once again, last week, inside bar. And if we just go ahead to the daily, you can see where all these breakout lines are to the upside and to the downside. Walmart traders, once again, keep it simple. I was talking with Walmart, and he was saying he's just wondering why some of you guys are having such a difficulty here. It's one of those things where you just have to keep doing it, because if you try it once or twice and you have a couple losers, you can't say it doesn't work, because the statistics over the long haul shows you. Now, some of you may not be trading at the best hours of the day to trade. So maybe one day I'll put up that chart again showing the best time. It's one of the 2020 donational indicators, but I can show you the best times to trade, which is basically the London and first half of the New York session. So actually, it's probably about the second. Let's see. Yeah, probably about 3 hours into the London session through about halfway through the New York session. Usually when it's about noon to 1 o'clock in New York, it's about time to wrap things up as far as the Walmart. You should have made your 10 pips by then anyway. And that's another thing. If you're going to sit here and trade all day, you're exposing yourself to risk. All it takes is one flash trade against you, and you could be down for the day. So for Walmart, he hits his 10 pips for the day pretty much on his one account, and he's done for the day. And that's just how he trades. You set that daily goal and hit it, and then you come back, and that way it'll keep you out of trouble, keep you from over trading. And that's something that a lot of traders struggle with. Okay, back to the order block bars. The other day, I realized what had happened. I'm looking at an H4 chart, and I had the order block bars indicator set to just 1 day. So this is 1 day, no shift. So that says go back to the beginning of the day. So you see how all those order block bars setups disappeared? So what I did was I came in and said, okay, let's look at the last 10 days, because I'm looking at H4. So we can shift it back 10 days. And then you can see more of those appear. Also, we can turn this one off. And then we can turn on the order block. And once again, the start period. So you might say you could go to the beginning of the week, or you could just go to the beginning of the month. And so that's how you would do that. And it would show you where that order block is for H4. Now, the other thing is, it will you can tell it to show on all periods. So you can tell it to shade the area, but then you can also choose your block period. So for example, if you want to see the 1 hour block, there's your 1 hour block, but this is on the H4. And if you shift over to 1 hour, you can see it once again. So, or you can even put it on M1 to see what it looks like. So you can see there's your H1 order blocks. You can see that overlap. And then if you put it to H1, that's how it works. Now, with the order block indicator, it will only show you the one order block bearish and one order block bullish. Okay, because it's saying what is the high point and the low point. Okay, and that's what it's looking for. But if you want to see all of the setups, then you can turn on the order block bars. Notice the plural, and it'll go back and show you all of those different order block setups. In this case, you've got it set to the current, which once again, block period, you could set that if you wanted to freeze it, and it will show you those order blocks on the different various time frames. So for example, here on M15, you can see those other order blocks based on the 1 hour time frame. So I hope that's not too confusing. I wrote these indicators to give you guys as much flexibility as possible. So hopefully they'll work for you. My preference on order blocks is the potential order block indicator, because I even watched another video this weekend on order blocks. It was like order blocks in 3 minutes or something. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe somebody can explain it simply. And once again, it was like you're taking their definition. Well, this is an order block. Well, why isn't this other one that happened, 7 bars ago with the same, in the same location, the same setup? Why isn't that an order block? It just doesn't make any sense. So, I don't know if any, and I've watched some of the videos that some of you guys suggested. I still think it's just something that's made up, but there's some validity to it. There's some valid points, but I think if you just look for the highest bullish candle and the lowest bearish candle, or the lowest high and the highest low in the time frame, you can use that as a line of demarcation and trade when price crosses below or touches that line and reverses. That's, I think, because that way there's no story behind it. It's just simple math, and everybody can agree this is the lowest high or the highest low. Because the rest of it, to me, is just, it's just too much. And then, but on a balance, once again, this is something's easily defined. Everybody's defining it the same way, and these prices just, or these areas, seem to attract price. As you can see here, what happened on Friday, and then price reversed. It made a couple of more, and you can see here it's starting to pull back. So imbalances, I definitely like. I think you can use them. Like, for example, you can use them with the wall method, that you might want to say, yeah, I'm going to take that trade, or no, I don't want to take that trade because of where there's an imbalance. It looks like it might go against me. But more on that later. So I hope everybody had a fun, safe, enjoyable Easter Sunday. And when you come back to trade, just remember, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.